Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further.
Now, if you're looking forward to disruptive mindset conversations, that is going to transform your mindset 360 degree. Now, moving you closer to the life that you have truly dreamt to have, like Omobola Stephen is a podcast that you like to listen to with expert and professionals who are adept in the topics of personal development and self-improvement. Now, it gives me great pleasure to have Sheryl Lynn on the show. She is the creator of the Chair of Joy experience and also the visionary of JOYELY LLC. Now, welcome with me on the show today, Sheryl Lynn.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here on Omobola.
Super excited to have you, Sheryl. Now I'm loving the energy already. I know we were going to have a really worthwhile time moving forward on the show. Now, Sheryl presents a metacognitive strategy, which is about the ability to think about your own thinking. Now, she'll be sharing her thoughts on experiencing joyful living and also on metacognition. Now, this is a super interesting topic you like to listen on. Sheryl, the question I'd like to ask you is that how can people discover their chair of joy? And now, are there things they need to start doing or they need to know?
So before we get into anything, because this is such a beautiful topic and it's easier to understand when we actually go through the chair of joy. May I take you through the experience very quickly?
Absolutely.
All right. So if you could pick a chair of joy in your house anywhere away from your computer, where would that be? And often when I give people their gift of the chair of joy, it's like you'll remember where you were when you had your first kiss. So if you could give yourself just a second and place, and for our listening audience also, where is your chair of joy? And it just means somewhere where you can get away to be quiet and maybe turn things off for just a minute. Where would yours be, Omobola?
That should be my bedroom.
Bedroom. And is it a recliner or do you have a rocking chair or what kind of chair?
I just have a mini sofa.
A mini sofa. Perfect. Oh my God, that feels so good. So there are 5 steps to this, and it's really about feeling better in 60 seconds. So number 1, she found her chair of joy, just like hopefully if you're listening, you did as well. So it sounds juicy and fun. That sounds like a great place to be. Number 2 is sit down in your chair of joy. So if you don't mind it, I just ask you to close your eyes for 30 to 60 seconds and imagine yourself sitting in that beautiful sofa couch. What color is it, by the way? What color is your chair, your sofa couch? What color?
Oh, that's color brown. That's chocolate brown.
Chocolate brown. All right. I want you to feel yourself, close your eyes, kind of falling into it, wiggling your toes and getting very present. The sit part is about what's around you. What are the sights and the sounds and the smells? Are there children outside playing? It's all perfect, whatever it is. And just let the chair embrace you and give you a safe zone. And then number 3 is to take a deep breath. So deep breath in. And let all the worries and the hurriedness and the things we have to do, just let that all fall away and get very present with me right now. Let that all fall to the ground. One more deep breath. And I want you to grab up the one thing that's the most important thing that you want to continue to carry with you throughout the day. And the 4th step is to think about a moment of joy around that thing. So what gives you great joy that's juicy and fun around this moment of joy? And I want you to actually step into the movie of this moment of joy. Give yourself a second just to really call in the sights and the sounds and the smells. See it, the symbols, and visualize it complete, whatever that is, or what you could add to the conversation. And last, I want you to feel it in your body, all the way from your head to your toe. Feel this joy. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Awesome. Now
So
that's very beautiful. Awesome. Thank you once again for that great introduction about what chair of joy is. Now, moving forward, I'd like us to talk more about the joy of not thinking. Now, I'm thinking also, how can we avoid thinking so much and remember the joy of just being?
Well, so that's why I wanted to take you through the Chair of Joy experience, because I love, like you, the idea of being quiet and still. In fact, when I bought the big white throne back when COVID started, when they were just shutting down the Las Vegas Strip is where I was, the chair arrived and everybody's like, why are you still so upbeat? And, you know, I always felt like I was one step ahead of the chaos. And so the chair I bought to let people know, what if you just sat down and got quiet? Like literally let God sit on your lap, or you sit on God's lap, or call it meditation or call it prayer. I call it the Chair of Joy, so it's universal. Whatever it is, can we just sit and be quiet? And that all by itself, there's tons of science about that, right? About what's possible to set intentions and to completely just let your body fall and become present. There's so much activity in just that alone. So I'm on the same page with you. Quiet could solve many of our world's problems.
Oh, awesome. Now, the thing is that people often think about making a change in life. Yes, I've been in that phase before in my life, and I think it's a continual process, right? So how can they find what generates joy in their body? Is this automatic?
It is not automatic. So the science is that so we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, right? And most of them coming in, 95% are probably on the negative side, based on trauma and tragedy and stress and worry and chaos and anger and all the things that make us human beings, which there's nothing wrong with that. What we don't do is feed our left brain, our thinking brain, which is the highway to the right brain, which is where the joy is. So if we're not putting joy on the front burner, if we're not talking about it, if we don't even use the word joy, which many people do not, and maybe once a day, if we're lucky, we might say the word joy. For a lot of people, it's joy at Christmas or joy at a birthday or a birth. It's not an everyday, all day thing. So to answer your question in short form, I'm not a scientist. I just know what I know because I study this every single day, is if I pay more attention to the word joy or those memories that you had, what's possible if I'm actually building my joy muscle? And then on the flip side of that, what happens if we don't build our joy muscle? What kind of life are we living? How are we even focusing on what's important? And that's the metacognitive strategy solution that I was talking about. Like, basically what that means is we're activating prior knowledge when we stop and sit in our chair of joy. We're taking instruction about how to get to a better feeling by sitting and breathing and thinking and feeling. And the guided practice, that's a metacognitive strategy. Like when we put our headphones on and do a guided practice, what I just showed you, and then reflection, like think about it and talk about it and have a support group around a conversation about joy. Like all those things are metacognitive strategies, which I feel like I've summed up in the Chair of Joy experience. I'm curious, what was your memory, by the way? Could you share with us when I asked you to think of a memory of joy? What was yours?
The memory, one beautiful memory was while I was nature walking in my neighborhood. It brought so many amazing experiences of my childhood, and I think it's sort of healing to me in that regard.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And yes, and then did you feel that in your body when I asked you to feel that? Did you have like goosebumps or a warm glow through your body? So that's what joy feels like. And so when we rush through our day and we've got to get in traffic and we got to get the shopping done and we got to take the kids and we got to have a relationship with our partners, like, oh my God, when do we actually stop to go, wow, I had like 12 amazing things that happened to me today, but yet all I can think about is getting to the next one, right? And so that's why it's just so good to go to our chairs of joy and reset, so we remember how valuable we are, how important we are, how that yearning for inner joy is being fed, so our brains can activate and then allow us to make better decisions and just, treat our companies, our families, our communities differently and, hopefully better.
Right. Now, talking about making better decisions, don't you think that working on the mindset comes to play here? Now, talking about mindset also, I would like us to move to mindset and also goal achievement. So what does one's frame of mind, what does it have to do with what a person is able to achieve in their life's pursuit when it comes to goal achievement and also having the right mindset?
So I think there's a lot to say about that, but I'm very curious when you say mindset, what you're referring to for you. Are you talking about positive intelligence? Are you talking about muscle, creating the joy muscle? What do you mean specifically?
I'm talking about mindset, a positive mindset.
Okay. So let me just say this. I think that we all want to, so we know the difference between happy and joy, right? Happiness is like eating an ice cream cone and then the happiness goes away, and happiness is fleeting, and we don't always get to have access to happy because it's like the same emotion as fear and worry and chaos and stress and anxiety, and it just kind of comes and goes. Joy, on the other hand, when we have a positive mindset or a mindset focused on joy or feeling better, then we can start building this state of balance. I call it homeostasis, or that's what homeostasis is. It's when you are basically steady and feeling sameness throughout your day, and hopefully a higher level of a standard of joy, or you're raising your standard of joy. So that's really what we're looking for, is for people to know that they don't always have to dip so deep in and out of wanting to develop this mindset. Right. I feel like it's something we chase after, and it's not as difficult as I think it's set out to be. It's just always, all day long, how can we set our mind up to go back to what feels good? And that's why our tagline, of course, is feeling better now. How can you feel better now, even if it's for 15 minutes? Okay, I sat in my chair of joy. I felt better for 15 minutes. And now oh my God, all that fear is coming after me again, or that worry, or all these to-dos, or all this overwhelm. So I sometimes go back to my chair of joy 10 times a day, because I'm a human and I have lots of traumas and tragedies in my past. And it's not easy to keep a positive mindset. But I figured out, after 30 years of listening to all the gurus and paying attention and spending thousands and thousands of dollars on all the things that I thought were great, it was like, oh, so if I can learn to turn on that emotion of joy inside of me all by myself without any extra stuff or spending any money or going anywhere, that's what I'm after. Like, it was like, so many light bulbs went off, and it's like, oh, it was such a relief to settle into knowing that my mindset was developed by me all the time. I had the tools without spending any money all the while. So that's why I'm on the planet now, is to share this message. It's super, super easy to keep your mindset in the place where you want it to be.
Absolutely. Thank you once again, Sheryl Lynn, for that beautiful insight. Now, because I know that you present a metacognitive strategy, which is about the ability to think about your own thinking. Now, I begin to wonder, is metacognitive strategy, is it intended for learners or students? And also going forward, how do people learn? How do people think about their own thinking?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's a habit, like anything. We have to be trained up in it. And from my experience, and I've sold real estate. I was in business development for a consumer packaging company. So I've been to many countries. I go to trade shows all the time. And of course, what I'm there to do is business and attract clients and all that kind of thing. But in that process, I interviewed people, and literally in 60 seconds, I could get a sense about what moved them, what was their passion. I would just ask really clarifying questions like, well, why are you here today? And is this something that's high on your priority list? And this important? They would soon get to probably not. And if I could sit at the ocean and drink, whatever, or if I could, build a garden or live in the woods like that, people would tell me that stuff instantly. And so, when I ask people to think about what they're thinking, they don't even know what I'm talking about, because they're so caught up in the business of life. And so that's the training that we do every day. We have a VIP program, we have corporate programs, we have individual, we have hospital programs. And it's that for people to go through their day, just like you did right now. And I asked you to sit in your chair of joy. There was like, oh my God, my mind's all over the place. Like, I don't even know how to think about what I'm thinking. But what I want you to do is to hear when the chaos comes, or when the worry comes, or when the fear comes, or when the upside downness comes, or whatever the thing is, going, I'm aware of what I'm thinking right now. And I'm going to train my brain to not think that way anymore, but to think through the process of the chair of joy, sit, breathe, think, and feel, to get myself to something else. And that's, I think, all we can do, because it's an individual process. Each human being on the planet has to get there. And when the collective conscious can rise to this occasion, I can't even imagine what's possible. And so that's why I'm standing firm like you, and like, this is a disruptor. Like, this has to happen. We need to have the chair of joy at our family dinner tables. We need to start UN meetings with the chair of joy, because everybody brings their own agenda to everything, and no one gets a whole lot of stuff accomplished, because we're all talking blah, 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 right? And nobody's hearing, nobody's listening, no one's coming from a feeling place.
All right. Now, Sheryl, metacognition is not always helpful. Say some school of thought. How valid do you think this assertion is?
Well, I mean, I think metacognitive strategies, like anything, are working for those who apply it. So if you aren't, Mel Robbins came up with the 5-second rule. Like she says, if you're aware of a cool idea that just popped up in your head, count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And by the time you get to 1, get it, take action on it. Because if you don't, it's gone. All of your doubt is going to start to shape up and show up, I should say. So it is what you make of it. If you don't use the 5-second rule, if you don't implement the chair of joy, it isn't going to work. So that's about all I want to say about that. May I share a red lighter story very quickly? So the red lighter stories, I love building fires, and I took myself out for a walk the other day, and I found myself at one of my favorite campgrounds, and I saw in the distance the embers of the smoke coming up, and I wasn't going there to have a fire. I didn't bring anything. I was just going to walk. And so when I saw the smoke, I was like, there's no one in that campsite. I'm going to go check it out. So when I got there, I noticed bunches of garbage laying around, and I saw these embers, and I thought, oh, maybe I can get this lit, right? And maybe I can burn this garbage and, have a moment here in this campsite that I didn't plan on. It was exciting, And so I couldn't get it going. I put all the leaves in. I was fanning and working it. And I'm like, I don't know what this is about, or why this happened, or why this showed up for me, but I love it. So I sat down on the picnic table, and I looked down between my legs, and I see this lighter. And instantly I knew all my problems were answered. I didn't have any worry. I was going to have the best fire. And then literally 5 seconds later, my brain went to, that lighter is broken. Why would anybody leave a lighter? It must have just been left there for some crazy reason. Certainly it doesn't work. So I picked it up, and I immediately lit the lighter. And I was like, why did I doubt that? Why did I allow myself to go to that? Why didn't I just go, take a deep breath, sit, breathe, think about fires, pick up the lighter and light the fire, right? And so anyway, I burnt all the garbage and had a great time. My point is, to answer your question, is that not all metacognitive strategies work for all, but when you implement them, they're fire. They are magic. They are fun. They are real, and they work.
Right. Thank you once again, Sheryl, for that beautiful illustration. I'd like us to talk about metacognition and mental health. Right. The question I'd like to ask you is, can metacognition therapies, can it have positive effects on the treatment of mental health issues that you know about?
Yes.
Talking about depression, anxiety, and the likes.
So you know that the World Health Organization just had a National Mental Health Day on October 10th, and we did a big sit down, and we gathered a bunch of people, and we all sat down at the same time. And it's because I, like you, agree that the mental health crisis in our country is out of control. I think it's one suicide every 11.5 minutes, which is basically a couple of planefuls of people dropping from the sky several times during the year. Like, it's insane. And then 464 mass shootings so far this year. What is going on? I don't understand it. Why? After all the technology, after all the science, after all the things we know, as you said, what's happening about it becoming worse? 1 out of 3 business owners want to check out because things aren't going well. The teen suicide rate is just off the charts, and depression, and the COVID comeback, and the social dysfunction, and all of that. So I think what's going to take, it's like a village. We're all going to have to come together. And I'm just going to stand firm in this conversation around the chair of joy, is that when we can agree to have support for each human on the planet, I think there's just so much we can do. And if you don't mind, I have another story. Do we have time? Oh. So on a sad note, about a month ago when I was in Las Vegas visiting for a conference, I was doing my thing. I was in the law of attraction. I was gathering all the amazing things that were coming my way and building clients and having fun. And then I got wind in the elevator that something happened outside. And it was Yoni, who was visiting from Guatemala. And he was not having a good day, and he had his chef knives in his hand, and he thought someone was laughing at him. So he didn't have a job. He was turned away by a friend, and he was in severe depression. And he ended up taking his knives out and stabbing 8 people, killing 2. And I literally stopped in my tracks. I was like, what? Why? No way. This cannot be happening, like literally 100 feet from me. And, like many things like this that happen, it does. And it does happen all the time. And it's crazy interesting that we can't do something about it. So this is my vision, that pretend you're at the Mandalay Bay and you're giving a speech, Omobola, right? And to all the people in there. And there's a gentleman in the audience, his name is Paul. And we start out the program and we say, hey, everybody, we're going to do our chair of joy quick, sit, breathe, think, feel. And everybody connects and they click into place and they get real, right? They're ready to hear our message then from there on out. Anyway, Paul leaves. He goes out on the street and he sees Yoni, and Yoni sees the big yellow button that they gave him at the conference that says Chair of Joy. And Yoni touches Paul on his button, and he says, I need help. I need help right now. Right now, I'm in trouble. And Paul and Yoni sit down on the stairs and they go through the Chair of Joy. Sit, breathe. Think about a moment of joy. And Yoni thinks about a moment of joy with his knives, and, that he's cutting vegetables and he's doing all these amazing recipes. He knew the chair of joy because of his last restaurant job, right? He knew what to do. And it turned out Paul had an opening at the Venetian where he worked, and there was a chef position open. So Yoni, in my vision, goes to work at the Venetian. Days later, these 8 people walk in unharmed. And that's what I think when you ask about mental health, we have a lot of work to do. And I think that we can handle it and we can get to it, and we can get to it fast when the world knows what the chair of joy is.
Absolutely. Now, Sheryl, I know that you have some interesting projects you have in your pipeline. You'd like to share with my audience. Can you please?
So right now I am just fast and energetically bringing the conversation of the chair of joy to the hospitals. I think that our healthcare workers, our doctors, everyone is taxed, and I think that we can help support them. And so we have one of our first hospitals getting off the ground and taking these fancy chair into their environment, letting them experience the chair of joy, and that's really fun. We also have a VIP membership going. We have beautiful merchandise that says sit, breathe, think, feel. We have a children's book in the works that's called The Chair of Joy, and it's about kings and queens that are going to the castle and what happens when they don't have a chair, and then when they do have a chair, and what happens to the kingdom when their demeanor changes. And then I have my own book coming out called Feel Better Now, The Chair of Joy Experience.
Absolutely. Now, that's what Sheryl. I wish you best of luck in this project and going forward.
Oh my gosh, what a pleasure it is to speak with you. Thank you for asking such amazing questions.
Thank you once again. Any parting words you would like to share with my audience?
Oh, all I can say is everybody take a moment to sit down, like get out of the chaos. If you're in any worry or stress or fear or anxiety or thinking, God forbid, anything like Yoni did, like let's take a minute and call me. My website, my phone number, everything is on my website. I'm available to talk with, and do sit in your chair of joy. It's so fun and so easy and so impactful. Parents, especially, like if you're having a moment, the chair of joy means more to us as adults than it does for our children. But those are my parting words. I love, love, love that people talk about joy, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being a guest also. Like to share your social media and on your website.
Again, joyely.com. And then my social media is all around JOYELY Studios, JOYELY Studios.
Thank you for pronouncing that for my audience. It's been really a worthwhile time having Sheryl Lynn on the show today. Now, I really had a joyful and impactful time with you on the show today, I must tell you. I wish you the best of luck once again, Sheryl Lynn, and also the JOYELY LLC team for the great work you're doing going forward. Best of luck always.
Go light your fires.